Hey guys, Amy here with Hellbound Company and Sublimation and More, and in this quick video tutorial I'm just going to show you guys how to get pretty phenomenal product videos using a very simple and I like to think that I'm a little thrifty, so I thought I would share this with you guys on my tips and tricks on how to accomplish professional product photos. Okay, so a couple things you guys are going to need. You're going to need some white or black foam board, or possibly both, depending on what you want your background to look like. You're also going to need a white fluorescent light bulb that you can put in a lamp, and you'll need some sort of a lamp that you'll want to hover over your products or however you want to angle them, depending on the shadows. You're also going to need a camera. So in this video, I'm going to use my iPhone X Max, but you can certainly use any iPhone, you can use an Android, and you can even use your DSL camera. So those are the few things that you'll need. Optional is a tripod. If you have shaky hands, a tripod will really come in handy. I do use a tripod sometimes, but I don't do it all the time, especially if I'm in a hurry. Okay, so that is all you need, and I would say budget on some of the things that you could run right out and do this tomorrow would be the foam board was about $3 a sheet. I got 2 sheets of them. I do recommend you get two or three sheets and both colors, black and white, so you can change it up. And the white bulb fluorescent light will probably run you anywhere, depending on where you get it and the brand, anywhere from $7 to $10. And then if you don't already have a lamp, you'll need to get that, which will be another $7 to $10 depending on where you get it at. So as you can see, this is a cheap budget, and I promise you probably already have a phone that has a decent camera on it. So that's all you need. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, as you can see, here's my setup. It's fairly simple, and you can have this set up anywhere you guys need to put it. If you're tight on space like I am, this is a simple setup for y'all. And as you can see, you're going to need a lamp. I have a box here that I just put it on because I needed to elevate it to get the lighting to go directly down more on my product. And this is what you're going to want to do. You can use a black bottom and a black background, but for this instance I'm using white because that's how I like to display my blank products. As you can see, the white lighting, if you move it away, it's very dark and shadowy. If you put a yellow lighting on it, it's going to give it a yellow tint, so that is why I prefer the white light. And depending on where you move the light will also depend on where your shadows show up. Okay, I'm not going to go into any professionalism photography talk here. I did photography a long time ago. What I'm trying to do is show you guys the quick, easy, and simple way. But if you could also add another whiteboard over here to bounce the light off of, which is a very common trick to use in photography. But I'm going to do it strictly like this on top, and I'm just going to position my lighting as best as I can. And if you don't like the shadow there because you're not able to, you didn't have another board to bounce it off, I'm going to show you how to get rid of the shadow in Photoshop anyways. So let's go ahead and take a few pictures. Okay, so for the purpose of the video, I'm using my iPad to show you how I'm taking pictures using the iPhone. With the iPhone X's, they have some really great tools that you could use, some photography tools in there that you could use to blur out the background and such and whatnot. So I'll show you that in a minute. But if you don't have those, if you don't have the newer iPhone or you have an Android phone, you can still get this accomplished. So what I did is I pretty much zoomed in, and I'm just going to want to zoom back in, and you can see that shadow there. If we were to move the lighting around, we could probably get rid of that shadow, but I'm not going to worry about that too much because I know I can get rid of it in Photoshop. So I'm just going to take the picture, and I have it, as you can see, pretty level, just a little above the table, and I have it set up on a tripod. I'm just going to take a couple pictures, make sure it's focused in there. All right, now to show you another option is they have what you call the portrait mode. All right, and they have these lighting options in here. They have a studio light, which is really great. It should blur out the background. And then they also have some other ones. They have stage lighting. So, and it says to place the subject within the stage light. So I'm just going to hit that. And we can move this around if we needed to. Going back to portrait there. Sorry, I'm trying to two-hand this. They have a contour light. I think for this, I like to use the studio lighting pretty much. And we're gonna just center that in there and take another picture. All right, so we've got our pictures all taken, so we're gonna go ahead and move over to the laptop where I can show you how to edit these in Photoshop. So I'm over here in Photoshop. I am using Photoshop CS6, and I'm going to go open those images that I just took a picture of. And let's see if we can find it. Okay. And so here's a couple of the photos. So I want to make these big. Let's look at them. There's the video you can see that I took in there for that. I mean, I think they're all going to look good photos, but let's go ahead and start with let's just start with that one. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get rid of all of this distracting area over here. So what I would do is I'd just come over here to your toolbar and I'd hit your crop button and I would just crop in. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to crop in. And this gives us an area to work with. Remember, if you're going to add text to the photo, you'll want to leave enough room. Okay, so we have a starting point. All right, so as you can see, it looks pretty good. I mean, not too bad. But the first thing I would want to do would be to get rid of these lines where you could see the boards coming together. There's a couple easy ways you can do that. We could choose to select, we can do a quick selection and just select the whole entire flask here. And then I would go up, I would right click and select inverse. And I'm going to just make some adjustments by going to image and to image and levels. And I'm just going to brighten up the background and just get it nice and white. We can also get rid of that shadow. Okay. So that is one way to get it as a solid white background. If that's a little too much, you can add just a little bit back. And so as you can see, it made it really nice and white. The next thing I would do is click on your little Band-Aid tool here. And we're going to want to just come across there and click over that line. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it's going to work with getting rid of that. Oops. All right, so another thing you can do is if it doesn't get rid of it perfectly, you can take your clone tool or you can take your paint tool, because at this point it's already pretty much a white background. I'm going to hit Alt so I can drag, so I can grab the color that's already there, and we can just paint right over it. Oops, a little crazy, Amy. I'm going to take my soft brush, okay, and you can just paint right around it. And these are a couple easy things to do here. And I'm going to make my brush bigger so that I can get it done quicker. Just be careful when you're going around the edges. Okay, so that was one way. Now, if you wanted to get rid of the shadow, you could paint right over it, but I think the shadow kind of gives it a nice touch. So I'm going to leave it. Now, if you wanted to brighten up, let's say this circle, you want to make that wider, I would go over here to your selection tool, and I would just select it, and I'd go Image, Brightness, and I would brighten that right up. So that way it kind of stands out. Okay, so those are some quick and easy steps to get rid of that, get rid of the line that where the two boards form together. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay. We're going to bring in another one real quick, and I'm going to show you another way. So I'm going to go open, and I'm going to bring in, let's bring in this one. The lighting's not too good on this one either. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to crop. Okay, once you crop, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to, let's see if we just go to Image, Adjustments, and Levels, and you can brighten the whole entire thing up if you wanted. Okay, that gives it a little, brings up the shadows. Okay, and the next thing we want to do is we're going to take the selection tool again, and we're going to take your whole entire flask again, and we're going to right click and select Inverse one more time. Now, instead of painting, I'm going to do Filter, Blur, and I'm going to go to Gaussian Blur. Hope I said that right. And I'm going to make that smaller so I can see. And I'm just going to go ahead and blur out the background. So as you can see, it's doing all the work for you. You don't have to paint if this is the route you want it to take. Okay? So I'm going to deselect, and you have a nice blurred out background. So if you still don't like those lines there, you can do what I said before, which is just take your paintbrush, select the color that you want, and just kind of go over it softly. But the blur tool, oops. The blur tool is very good for if you have a background, if it's not a solid colored background, which I've used it before, like on Stan's baby bibs when I took pictures of them. I did it out in the grass, and so I really wanted to blur the grass out. So it's just a different effect for you guys to be able to use to get professional looking products. So that's how easy it is in Photoshop. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this part of the video. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys found it useful and helpful. So the next step for you guys to do is get out there and go get your supplies, get your foam board, get your white light, and start taking professional pictures. I hope you guys will share with the group what you learned and what your finished product was after you do your project. Thanks for watching.